Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this week's Advanced Financial Weekly Update with financial experts Brian Walker, the president of the AFI Group, and Edward Schuh, senior investment manager at Inception Financial Services. Welcome to this week's episode. Oh,
hey guys!
Oh, hey, look at this guy.
Thanks for having me. This is the baseball episode. I got my jersey, I got my hat. I'm ready to go. Which stadium are we on?
I think you're a week late there, buddy.
Are you telling me I slept for a week straight?
You must have.
I don't know how you would miss it, to be honest with you.
Oh my gosh. I just slept a week of my life away. Oh, great. Well, hopefully I knew what's going on in today's day and age. I don't know. Did anything change in a week?
Yeah, a lot's changed in a week, and that's what we're going to talk about, because as the country begins to open back up, you can feel the tension rising this week. So today we're going to try to make sense of the completely confusing data that so many people feel so certain about. So we're going to need your guys' help to try and figure it all out. But before we begin, I want to give reporter Ali a chance to summarize.
Yeah, I really don't understand why everybody isn't following the same rules right now. They're very clear, so let's take a minute and let's go over them again. First, you must not leave the house for any reason, unless of course you have a reason, and then you may leave the house. All stores are closed except those that are open, and all stores must close unless, of course, they need to stay open. This virus is deadly, but don't be afraid of it. It can only kill people who are vulnerable and also those who are not vulnerable. We should stay locked down until the virus stops infecting people. And it will only stop infecting people if enough of us get infected that we build immunity. So it is very important that we get infected and also do not get infected. You should not go to the doctor's office or the hospital unless you have to go there. Unless, of course, you are too sick to go there. This virus has no effect on children except for those children in which it affects. The virus remains active on different surfaces for 2 hours or 4 hours or 6 hours, but in most cases it's days and not hours, and it needs a damp environment or a cold environment that is warm and dry in the air, unless the air is plastic. Schools are closed, so you need to homeschool your children unless you can send them to school because you are not home. If you are at home, you can school your children using various portals and online classrooms unless you have poor internet, more than one child, only one computer, or you are working from home. Baking cakes can be considered math, science, or art. If you are home educating, you can include household chores within their education curriculum. And if you are home educating, you may start drinking at approximately 10 a.m. every day. If you are not home educating children, you may also start drinking at approximately 10 a.m. Masks are useless at protecting you against the virus, but you still need to wear one because it can save lives. And in some cases, it may even be mandatory, but also maybe not. You must not go to work, but you can get another job, at which point you may go to work. Stay home. I don't know how many more celebrities we need to have tell you how important it is to go outside and take care of your mental health. There is no shortage of groceries in the supermarket. There are simply many things missing. You don't need to go buy a bunch of toilet paper, but you should buy some in case you need it. If you are sick, you may go out once you are better, but those in your household, they cannot go out once you are better unless, of course, they need to go out. Animals are not affected by the virus, except for that cat that tested positive in Belgium in February, plus a couple tigers. The number of corona-related deaths will be announced daily, but we don't know how many people are infected because we were only testing those who are almost dead to determine if that's what they will die of. The people who die of corona who are not counted won't or will be counted, but maybe not. To help protect yourself during these times, you should be eating well and exercising, but exercising only eating what you have at home to avoid going to the stores unless you need toilet paper or a fence panel. It's important to get fresh air, but don't go to parks, but do go walk in other places. Just don't sit down unless you are old or pregnant. But if you do sit down, don't sit for too long. Unless you are old and you are pregnant, in which case you need to sit down. But if you do sit down, don't eat unless you've had a long walk, which you are allowed to do if you are old or pregnant, except for times in which you aren't. Don't visit old people. but you have a moral obligation to take care of old people and bring them food and medicine. And finally, no businesses will go down due to coronavirus except those businesses that go down due to COVID-19. I hope this cleared up any questions about what we should and should not be doing during this time. Please educate your friends and family with this information so we can remove any and all confusion surrounding this time. Thank you.
Well, hopefully that made things a little bit more clear for our viewers. But in all seriousness, Brian, does it strike you as odd that people have such strong opinions based on unreliable data?
You know, it does not surprise me at all. I wish it did, but unfortunately, there's so many media sources coming at us on a daily basis with a lot of different information. I mean, go back to when the coronavirus first was detected and it was coming out, all the information. You know, we were told by the World Health Organization it has a death rate of 3.5%, maybe even higher. But, you know, once those thoughts are in your mind, now you're emotional. And now you think the end of the world is coming. We're all going to die. And so that's stuck in your mind, right? So now when new data comes out, it becomes harder and harder to try and accept that and take emotion out of the equation.
Yeah, absolutely. Eddie, it is really common in the investment world. What have you done to try and take emotion and uncertainty out of the data and into the decision-making process?
Well, taking emotion out of it is another huge trick that we have to think about, because not only are we talking about individual mortality rates and things like that, but you know, I mean, we're looking at the impact this has had on the market, and now we're talking about money, you know, people's money, people's livelihood, people's retirement savings, all of those things. And it's kind of funny because initially, you know, I was one kind of fairly early on who said, oh, you know, we need to put emotion aside and stay the course. And since then, I think no matter what article you read, it says something about staying the course. And so if I coin that phrase, I'm sorry, because now it's everywhere.
Everywhere.
And now, well, I will say, regardless of the data that's coming out, right, because we have analysts on each side, is this going to be a U-shaped recovery? Is this going to be L-shaped? Is this going to be V-shaped? And for those who don't know what those letters look like, basically, is this going to be the new norm for a while? Is the economy going to bounce right back and come back? Or is it going to take just a little longer and then it'll come roaring back? And the thing is we have everyone is basically not on the same page, right? Some people think the economy is going to come roaring back. Some people think it's going to be in stages. Some people think it may never come back. And the thing is we know that this will correct itself. But when I say stay the course, I should have also mentioned that, you know what, it is also an opportunity. And what's it an opportunity for? It's an opportunity to review the plan. Now, a plan was, if you don't have a plan in place, then it's time to evaluate where your investments are and look at implementing a plan or a strategy. But if you have one in place, it's not a bad time to review that strategy, ensure that the strategy still fits, but basically then ensure that we've implemented and engaged that long-term strategy.
Not to mention, Eddie, so many things have changed with taxes and with the CARES Act changing taxes, tax opportunities, tax loss harvesting.
It's a tremendous, sorry, Robert. Yeah, I mean, it's a tremendous opportunity to engage in some tax, what I like to call tax bracket management, right? Where we can potentially implement movements from tax deferred or other taxable buckets and get them into an environment where they grow tax-free, ideally for less money, right? So that, I mean, that's part of the evaluation of the plan.
And that's just one of dozens and dozens of changes in the law that should make almost everyone want to review their plan, because now there's so much more opportunities opened by the change in law that if you don't take advantage of them, then you could lose out. And staying the course means stay the course of looking for opportunity, evaluating, reevaluating, and moving forward, not just hunkering down and putting everything under the mattress.
Correct. Exactly right. Yeah, it is. I mean, it is a time for opportunity. I mean, think about the fact that a number of people watching this may be collecting unemployment, right? They're not going to have as much. They're not going to necessarily earn as much as they thought. What does that do? That allows us to take advantage of current lower tax rates and get those shifted to where they can be more beneficial, where we earn potentially the same amount, potentially more. But here's the thing, where we'll never have to pay taxes on it again. It's a great opportunity.
So as we take a look at numbers, let's narrow it down for those who are really trying to decide how quickly do they open back up their lives and their businesses local here to Southern California. And let's go to Gavin Newsom to see what he had to say about people trying to make their own determination.
I've been led by my health directors in partnership with counsel with many health professionals that feel we need to address that a little bit more specifically in a targeted way. The volume of density, the volume of people and concentrated space, particularly in a few cities, few coastal cities off and around the Orange County area. Those were the point of particular concern. So today we want to make some clarifications. We're going to do a hard close in that part of the state, just in the Orange County area. Over the next few weeks, arguably many months, we'll continue to work with our county health directors, our local officials, and there'll be constant need to update, to toggle, and to iterate. And to that end, that's what we need to do as it relates to what we saw in the activity last Saturday in particular, and Sunday to some degree on a couple of our beaches in the state of California. As I've said from day one has to be open to argument, interested in evidence. We can't be driven by ideology. We have to be driven by the spread of this disease. I'm going to announce in a moment the number of people lost their lives, getting close to record numbers.
And now let's go to more locally, the mayor of Newport Beach, and see what he has to say about what's happening in and around our area.
Mero Neal, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Alex and Dr. Drew.
All right, so the governor says we need to do this. It's public safety. It's important. Bear with us for a little bit longer. Stay away from the beach. What do you say?
Well, I say that the governor's decision to only close Orange County beaches had to have been driven way more by politics than by data. Because if you're looking at the data, Orange County has a population of 3.2 million people. We're bigger than 22 states right now. And we've lost 50 people to this virus, which is 0.001% of our population. But I will just say, you've seen the experiment of what it looks like to close the beaches already in Los Angeles County. And they've been closed for over a month. But every single beachfront community in Los Angeles County has a higher per capita COVID rate than every single open beach community in Orange County. And if the governor were really looking only at data, he'd be looking at San Diego also, which has twice the number of people who have died from this virus than Orange County, but their beaches stayed open.
So as you can see, there is enormous amounts of conflicting data. People just want to know what is the truth and what is the real risk if I decide that I want to go out to a restaurant, or if restaurants decide they want to open back up or at half capacity. And already we're seeing some restaurants do that here in the Southern California area. So despite the conflicting data, Eddie, what does this say about our ability to keep our emotions and our politics out of the decision-making process so we can make educated and hopefully healthy decisions that keep us safe, but also help move our economy forward?
Yeah, Robert, it's unfortunate. I don't think that there's a way. I don't think there's a way anymore with as long as this has been drawn out, or as long as we've had to endure this, to keep emotion out of it. I mean, everything that we've seen and everything that we've talked about now, everybody's pretty much picked a side You know, there's still plenty of us kind of in the cautious middle as well, but now, with as far as we've come, I don't see it being a realistic possibility for any government official to say, okay, we may have overreacted a little bit, right? Because then that would be them coming out and saying, hey, we were wrong. Maybe we should have implemented alternative methods in order to try to prevent the spread prior to just a full shutdown of the economy. And that's not going to happen from anybody on either side of the aisle. So at this point, you have people getting angry. They want to get out of the houses. You know, it's the, another one of those catchphrases we've heard now is, is the cure worse than the cause, than the virus, right? And we hear that often. And the unfortunate thing is it's unless we can base our decisions off of what we know is rock solid data, there's always going to be some degree of emotional response to it.
And Brian, you're a numbers guy, and when it comes to retirement planning, how do you balance the data, keeping it all into consideration when making those decisions?
Yeah, Robert, that's a great question, because what I see a lot of times with financial planners is they really focus on rate of return. And investing and planning for retirement is so much more than just rate of return. And even rate of return can be manipulated. You know, you can have average rate of return, you can have actual rate of return. And what you typically hear from most financial planners is average rate of return, which doesn't equate to actual. And so that can have a drastic difference on what your retirement looks like. So, yeah, I'm a numbers guy. I love numbers. I love looking at data. And when you're planning for retirement, you have to look at things like rate of return, yes, but you also have to look at what is your Social Security looking like? What's your amount of provisional income when it comes to Social Security? So how much of your Social Security becomes taxable? What are tax rates going to look like? Are they going to be higher? Are they going to be the same? Are they going to be lower? Are you going to be a single filer? Are you going to be filing jointly, married? If tax rates are going to be higher, where are you getting your cash flow from? Are they coming from taxable accounts, tax deferred accounts, tax-free accounts? I mean, we talk about this time and time again. And most people are pulling from their tax deferred accounts. Those are their retirement accounts. And if we follow those typical Monte Carlo simulations, they're going to pull 4% out, and then you have to apply tax. So do you really know what your cash flow is going to be in retirement? And the answer is no. Then what if you have a long-term care event? How are your assets positioned to help protect you during that time? Is it going to deplete a lot of your assets? Is it going to deplete assets for your surviving spouse? These are a lot of complex questions and scenarios that just giving an answer of, hey guys, I'm a financial planner and I average an 8% return over my career, that is not going to cut it, period. And you can relate all of that to COVID-19, all the data that we're just being flooded with. If you care about the data, some people just don't care and they just look at headlines, right? And that's kind of doing half of the job. And we don't want to do half of the job. We want to do the full job, because you've accumulated for 20, 30, 40, maybe even 50 years. And then you need that money to last for 20, 30, maybe 40 years, depending on how long you live. And you can't do it with a haphazard type of attitude. You got to take in all the data, all the information, and try and make your best educated decisions based off the data we have and what we can project for the future. So
right, and
it's a lot.
And it's not just, we have a lot of clients who like to manage their own brokerage accounts, which is fine. But again, you said there are so many other things that come into consideration. And Ed, explain why this isn't just a one-time plan, but how important it is to have an expert a team of experts walking alongside you, making adjustments to the plan based off of the changing data that happens daily, monthly, and annually. And those who are walking alongside a team of experts are able to react to the change in data, take in recommendations, and take advantage of more opportunity.
Yep.
Yeah, I used to tell people a joke when they would come in. They say, you know what, I don't want to leave any money to anybody. And I would always say, well, you tell me the day you're going to leave this world, and I'll make sure you spend your last dollar on that day. But the problem is most of us don't know when that's going to be. So what do we know? One, we know life can change on us, right? The last 3 months have been, very evident that overnight things can change for us. So what does that mean? That means we need to be able to have a plan that was created to be flexible. And what does that mean? It means that we can adapt with those changing life circumstances along the way. Have plans, contingencies built in, plan A, plan B. There's 24 other letters that we can use for the various contingency plans that we want to build into it. But it's having those individuals who can run the numbers, evaluate the data, and be able to show, okay, yes, you know what, things have changed for us. Here's how we can adapt. Here's what we built into the plan to cover for that. And here's how it impacts our overall income picture, right? And always the ultimate goal is then to achieve those long-term goals between income, between legacy planning, whether it involves updating a trust, but having flexibility built in, the ability to evaluate the numbers and the data, and then make changes along the way.
Yep. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. If you learn more about objective data analysis, the different reports that Brian and Eddie offer to help you make more accurate decisions, reach out to us at info@theafigroup.com. And don't forget to share and like this video. Brian, Eddie, stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week.
All right, Brian, I'll see you at the ballpark, okay?
Sounds good, Eddie. Get ready to lose.